are featured on AMCC, Plaza Level 1 of the National Library.
Those kids come over to the front to sit. Okay, thank you very much.
Hi guys, I'm Brian, and today's about 10 years ago.
It's also the younger generation. Okay. So last year she won the prize and also the best
National JC this year, and in case you guys are wondering, at National JC this year, you guys
guests, students, parents, and teachers. Welcome to the 2014-2015 Young Author Awards. YAA celebrates its 8th year in building the next generation of thinkers and writers. Please put your hands together to welcome our hosts today, young author pioneers Brian Joel Lim, Eleora Joseph, and Athena Tan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow young authors. Welcome to this year's Young Author Awards 2014-2015. My name is Brian, and together with my co-hosts Athena and Eleora, we are honored to be present here today in the midst of Asia's brightest young writers and thinkers. Well, being former young authors ourselves, one of us being much less young than the other, I am sure that today will be a walk down memory lane for all of us.
Yes, Brian, it most certainly will be. It started with a vision and a class of 50 young writers with a common love for the written word. Today, the Young Author Awards has evolved into Singapore's premier awards for the future generations of young authors and passionate thinkers.
Indeed, Athena. The YAA has come a long way over the past few years. This year, we received over 500 entries, of which 48 finalists will be announced as top winners of YAA 2014 and 2015. All these great works would not have been possible without the support of our partners. We would like to specially thank the Book Council for including us into the AFCC program, the National Library Board, our online partner StarHub, Media Development Authority, and our wonderful partner for our Amazing Journey series, STA.
We would also like to give a shout out to our special guests here this evening. Among us today is the Executive Director of the National Book Council, Mr. R. Ramachandran, former President of the Singapore Book Publishers Association and Director of Etymology, Mrs. Trina Ong. Futurist Entertainment at StarHub IQ, Mr. Vincent Wang. HOD Education, STA Travel, Mr. Mark Teng. And lastly, one of our amazing journeyers, Miss Bella Koh. They'll be talking to us later this evening, so keep your ears peeled and your mind fresh. All right, let's get this show on the road. Athena, what's a good vision to you?
Well, Brian, I think that a vision is the ability to see the invisible and make it a reality.
Wow, that's actually a really great vision to have, especially for any young author. And you know what's even better? Is that right now, right here, there's someone who strives for this very vision, because she envisions building a new library of Asian literature for children by children.
That's right, Brian. And this vision has given us the opportunity to write and publish our own books, for us and by us.
Yes, Leora. And she is none other than Miss Catherine Koo. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join us in welcoming the woman behind the Young Author Awards and Genus Education's Managing Director, Miss Catherine Koo.
Thank you, everybody. Right, I'm very, very happy to see everybody here. And like I said just now, well, it's the 8th year, and all of you sitting here are the generation, okay, thinkers and writers, okay. So what is very important is for you to basically write, okay, but more importantly to think and write, because writing does not come without thinking. It comes with basically a responsibility as well, because what you put into words, basically somebody will read it, and that's a responsibility, right? Honored guests, right? Mr. Ramachandran, Mrs. Srina Ong, Mr. Vincent Wang, Mr. Mark Teng, and I think quite a few others. Miss Lim Lee Cox sitting down there. Yes, hi, right? And my young authors, my young author judges. Where are you? Please put up your hands. I'm expecting 10 to come. There's Yogesh. One thing, I saw one thing, right? And a few others. Right, thank you very much for making this, this dream come possible for me, because when I started out, I wanted to build the next generation of thinkers and writers. And I think this is the 8th year of the awards, but I think we've come a very, very long way. And I have all of you to thank, parents, teachers who supported the Young Author Scheme and the Young Author Awards, and the people who have worked with me, my editor, my program manager, right, they're all there. Right, my finance manager, and right now my young author MCs, and also something very special. We did a book called Heritage Journeys, No Place like Serangoon Gardens, and guess what? The young authors whom wrote their winning stories, some of them worked with us, and I'm very proud today to say that we're going to launch the book, and they are part of it. And I also have some contributors here who have come a very long way. Right, so thank you everybody, and thank you very much. Excited. Now I'd like to invite a very, very special guest up to speak about, I think, writing, right? I mean, we all speak about writing. She was former president of the Singapore Book Publishers Association. Now, I guess retired, but knowing her, she never retires. And now she's founder of a company that deals with words, right? Mrs. Srina Ong. Thank you, Trina.
Thank you, Catherine. Hi, everybody. This is such a huge stage. And you seem so far away. So I'm going to break tradition and I'm going to come down. So I'm closer to you. Now, Catherine wrote to me just last week, and I was in London, and I didn't have time to think about what she asked me to speak on. And the topic that Catherine gave me was never stop reading and writing. Never stop reading and writing. So I put some thoughts together, and she's given me 10 minutes. So I have 10 points. And it is from babies up to adults, because I know we all have little children, we've got nieces and nephews, we've got grandchildren, and we've got primary school children, secondary school students, university students, and adults. And we should all never stop reading and writing. So I'll touch on my 10 points. But just a little bit to sort of tell you a bit more about me. I've actually written children's books a long time ago. I don't do it anymore. So I know the challenges. I've published many, many books, and now I have my own business called Etymology. I'm not going to tell you the meaning of that word. I want you all to go home and look up the dictionary. It's very pertinent to the type of work I do, etymology. I'm an editor. I publish books. I read and write every day. Look up the word. It'll help you in your spelling tests. Okay, now when does reading start? I'm going to talk about never stop reading and writing. When does reading start? Actually, it starts when you're a baby. If you've got a little sister who's or little brother, 1 or 2 years old, read him or her a story. You know those cloth books they've got? And the baby will pick it up and put it in his mouth, but keep turning the pages and read the story. Eventually they'll get the hang of it, that it's a book to be read. In primary school, your teacher will bring you to the library or choose library books for you to read in class. So these are chances for you to learn about reading. And of course, as you get older, you'll choose what you want to read. Now, what do you read? When you're little, you may not be able to read, but have you heard of the Richard Scarry books? They're full of pictures. They have no words in them. And they've got lots and lots of scenes, like the farm scene, the zoo scene. And you can point to these pictures and tell the little 1-year-old or 2-year-old, this is the farm, and this is the farmer, and these are the ducks. And it's a story. You can make up a story. So you can start making up stories for your brothers and sisters who are too young to read. And as you grow up, of course, you choose your own books and you learn to read in school. Now, some people say, oh, I don't want to read books. They're too long and too difficult. My suggestion is to read and enjoy it. Start with short stories. Stories that have only got 5 pages. And then you'll understand better. You'll feel a sense of satisfaction. And it won't take too long. And you can choose books that are full of short stories or little skinny books that are very short. Another way to start reading and enjoy it is to get illustrated books. That means books full of comics or pictures. And there's a publisher over there called Asia Pac Books that has all the illustrated books you can imagine. They're like comics, but they're very serious topics too. There's Chinese culture. There are condensed versions about the Nobel Prize winners. So you gain knowledge, you can read interesting stories, and they're all illustrated, they're all pictures, and they're really fun to read. Another way is to go to the National Library here and look at their catalogue and key in simplified classics. Then you can find books about Sherlock Holmes. They're really thick books, but if you're interested in mysteries or ghost stories, you'll find lots of short stories that are simplified for young people. And once you get to know which type of stories you like, you can get some more books that are simplified or graduate onto the thicker books. So if you say books are too long and boring, try those 3 steps: short stories, or illustrated books, comics, or simplified versions. Then you'll get hooked, that's for sure. Another excuse is books are too expensive and they're too heavy to carry around. If they're expensive for you, once again, come to the National Library. You can borrow them. I think you can buy lots at one time. And if you've got a device, or you can borrow Mummy and Daddy's iPad, you can get an e-book online, also from the National Library. Try it. You just do a search and it will come up, e-book available. They're very, very popular. You sometimes have to reserve it because other people are reading the e-book. I actually had to wait 4 weeks to read the e-book written by the wife of Stephen Hawking. You know who he is? Stephen Hawking. He's that famous scientist who is in a wheelchair but has invented the theory of time. And his wife wrote a book called The Theory of Everything. And it was a movie. And I went to see the movie. And it was a lovely movie because she loved the husband so much. and I thought, I wonder if the book is different from the movie. So I wanted to read the book. So that's another way you can get an interesting book. If you see a movie, like have you seen the Harry Potter movies, and you haven't read the book because they're so thick and heavy, maybe you see the movie and then read the book to see if they're really the same. Because usually movies are never the same as the book, and the books are always much better. Okay, so after you've started with short stories and comic books and simplified classics, then you move to the full-length books, and you'll really find the world opens up. You'll be able to read about other countries, other children, other experiences, fiction, non-fiction. You're all writing fiction, I guess, but those who are writing stories that are non-fiction, they're true stories. Non-fiction is about true stories. I love true stories better than fiction, but that's my inclination. Now, why should you read at all? Now, one of the MCs mentioned if you can read, it helps you in your studies, because all your exams in English, even the mathematics and science, you have to understand what you're reading in order to give the correct answer, don't you? So if you read for leisure, just quietly, you are actually helping yourself in your studies by understanding more words. Reading also helps you with vocabulary. For example, you can make your writing really interesting. If I say, today's crowd is really huge, in fact, it's humongous. Go and look up that word. Today's crowd is humongous. And that will make your reading and writing more exciting. You can find out new words when you read. Look up a dictionary when you don't know the meaning, and then use it in your own writing. Reading also helps you with grammar and speaking. The three MCs today spoke so beautifully, didn't they? That's because they have been reading and writing and practicing the words that they know, and they spoke so beautifully. I was so impressed. That brings us to Singlish. I love Singlish. I think it's so full of character and so entertaining. It's great in a familiar setting. It's great as casual conversation and for comedy. But it's not the English you need to pass school exams or to write a lot of styles of books or to communicate internationally. So Singlish is good. Read Singlish, appreciate it, because we are in Singapore and it's a fun language, dialect. But you need to know the difference between Singlish and correct English. That brings me to a note of caution. I guess most of you have a handphone, and I know that texting and SMS is just about free in Singapore, so you can send hundreds of texts, SMSs to your friends. When I get a text from a young person, I sometimes don't even understand it, because there are all sorts of shortened versions, all sorts of new language, and all sorts of emoticons, those little faces and those little symbols. And so I have to read it out loud to understand what it means. That's fun, but be careful. If you don't use proper spelling and words and grammar in your writing, you might forget how to do it. So that's a word of caution when you're using these new devices. Now, why should we write? Writing is an expression. You express yourself, either your imagination, a story you make up in your mind, or your feelings. You might have lost someone in your family, your dog might have died, and you feel very sad and you want to write about it. If you looked at today's Straits Times, there's a winner of a book prize, the Hedwig Anwar Children's Book Award. The author's name is Hidayah Amin. And you know what she wrote about? She wrote about a mango tree that was cut down that she loved so much. she just felt that she had to share her feelings about this mango tree that was a part of her life for so many years. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But the passion and the story that came of that won a prize. So nothing is so simple. Anything that touches your heart, be it happy or sad, think about it, write about it. You could write about your experiences at home, welcoming a new baby, knowing a child who's sick. I mentioned to Catherine when I first arrived that I was in Jakarta last month looking at a community service project. And she says, oh, we do a project in Cambodia for children too. And she said, share your experience. And what I saw in Jakarta was a very simple school set up by volunteers in a little village where the road was so small the car couldn't go in, was all muddy. And these children are street children. They live in atap houses along the river and also the railway track. It often floods. They have sometimes no parents, or the parents are away or in jail, and they don't go to school because nobody sends them there. Or they have to look after their baby brothers and sisters and go home and cook. So I went to see this school, and it's just amazing how inspired these young people are when given a chance to learn to read and write. And they go right through primary and secondary school in this very small place. And if they're not happy to continue their studies, you know what they do? They get trained on sewing machines to make hats and bags for ladies using recycled products. So, that could be an experience that I could write about if I were a good writer. I'm more of an editor who are more destructive. I find fault in people's writing. So you can write about your experiences on your holidays. Now, how do you get started with writing? You might say, my mind is blank. I have no inspiration. I have nothing exciting to talk about, no major experiences. There is an easy way to get started. Do you all have a diary? A diary is a wonderful way to share your thoughts with yourself. A diary is a very private document. A diary is where you write down at the end of every day what happened to you that day. You could talk about a tiff you had with your best friend in school, or the exciting lesson you had, or something great your friend gave to you. Any experience at all, big or small, as long as it touched you, it made you feel happy, sad, excited, inspired. Write a diary. It's amazing what will pour out of your heart when you're writing to yourself about yourself. And it's very private. You don't have to show anybody, not even your mother. My daughter used to do that, and she had this little pink diary that had a lock on it with a key. So even if I found it when she was out, I could never open it. But many years later, when she was grown up, I found the diaries, but I still didn't read it. But she wrote many, many diaries, and she ended up being quite a good writer, actually. She studied literature at university, and she still writes. Start with a diary, and you can write anything you like in it. I have a little granddaughter. She started writing books at the age of 4. Not really books, but she had A4 paper, and she would fold them in half so that they would have pages, and her characters were always her little rabbit. She had a toy rabbit, a stuffed rabbit. It was white. It was quite grey when it got dirty, called Mrs. Ribbon. And in her storybooks, there's always Ariel. Who knows who Ariel is? Ariel is the Walt Disney mermaid. She had half fish body and very long red hair. So in Karina, who's my granddaughter, Karina's books, there's always Mrs. Ribbon, the rabbit, and Ariel, the mermaid. Funny combination, huh? But every page would have a picture of these two, and she'd make up her own story. And then she'd write a title on there by Karina Ong. So it's never too young to start, and she'd be very proud of her little books. They'd have about 8 pages in them, just A4 paper, and she would colour them in and took them to school to show her kindergarten teacher. So, getting started, just start writing. Of course, you can always join our experiences and experiments to have classes and learn how to write, but if you don't, you can do it by yourself at home. There's one aspect I haven't touched on, and that's poetry. If you're inclined to write poetry, go for it. Poetry is a very specialized type of writing, but it's very beautiful if you know how to express yourself in very brief language, short lines, and that requires special training. And I'm sure Catherine can teach you that too. So on this note, I'd like to end and say, first of all, how I'm impressed with the MCs because of their experience and the way they have spoken so well, a true reflection of their reading skills and writing. And I'd like to congratulate all the young people here who've written stories and who've won awards. And even to those who haven't won awards, keep trying. The important thing is the reading and the writing. I thank you very much and wish you all very well. Thank you.
Now, there are some things that you hear that truly touch the heart, and thank you, Mrs. Ong, for the very inspiring speech. You have touched my heart today. Now, I am very sure our young authors have gained much insights from it, too. Our next guest speaker is someone who calls himself a futurist, someone who I'm very intrigued in. I will have to ask him what exactly a futurist means right after this. Mr. Vincent Wang is from StarHub, and he will tell us why ebooks is the next phase of publishing. A warm round of applause for Mr. Vincent Wang, please.
Hi, good evening everyone. So I'm Vincent. So yes, so the MC introduced me as futurist, so perhaps I just do a brief introduction what I actually do. So perhaps in StarHub,
Okay.
so actually we have a new department called ICUBE. So it stands for Innovation, Incubation and Investment. So what we do today is doing things that is 3 to 5 years down the road. So what we see, so the thing is what we do actually is for the future. So of course for futurists, everybody keep asking me like, so you look into the future, can you tell me the lottery number for this week? But actually I tell them, I only can tell them one number, but the rest you have to find out yourself from the temple or anyone who you knows. Yeah, but anyway, for the next 5 to 10 minutes, do allow me to go through why ebooks will be the next wave of publishing. Okay. Yeah. So the thing is, so for smart devices today, ever since it was released, it has taken the content world by storm. So look at this over here. So the thing is that users today have been increasingly consuming their contents, be it books, be it games, be it mobiles on their mobile devices, and usage in traditional service and media has declined. So with this trend, new services such as Spotify, Flipboard has gained huge popularity. Has gained huge popularity among the new users because it actually offers a new way of how users can gain content easily on their mobile phone. This is where they spend most of their time right now. Of course, for publishing industry, there is no exception as well. So the thing is that we have witnessed the closure of. So I will just continue like this. Okay, so it's back. So yes, so I was saying that the closure of iconic bookstores such as Borders and Page One, while services like Amazon Kindle, Kobo has become the default services where users look for their ebooks or books because simply down to 2 factors, which is pricing. But all these services today are focused mainly in the West market like the Europe and US. Which is why StarHub today decided to launch a new service which is called Bookmate. Sorry, next. So Bookmate was launched actually in December 2014. So Bookmate is actually a new service that allows users to pay a flat fee every month. Yes, so Bookmate actually allows users to actually pay a subscription fee every month. And the best thing is that today Bookmate is actually a multi-platform service where today is on Android, iOS, and even Windows mobile devices. Yes, and with this means that users today without actually needing to bring a book out. They can actually use their mobile devices and enjoy their books whenever, wherever. Yes. Okay, so for today, next please. We are very pleased to welcome the Young Authors and Catherine Khoo Books on board. So we actually created a new bookshelf, which is called the Young Authors Club, that especially featured the young authors' books and to help them to get additional exposure. So right now today, you can just download the application and you can go in and straight away read their books. So including the winners and the shortlisted winners today. Next, please. So in summary today, what we actually StarHub hopes to achieve is that we want to work with the publishers. The microphone is a bit weird, but yeah, to achieve a robust ecosystem so that it's ready for the few challenges for the future. Yes. Yep. So next. So okay, in short, so I didn't want to take so much time because everybody wants to know the winner. Okay, so the thing is, we thank you for your time. So if anyone who is keen to know more about the service or feel free to try out the service on trial, can approach me after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent Wang, for a very insightful talk. At this juncture, we would like to present the Bukit Community Favourite Award in collaboration between StarHub and Genius Education Services. The stories written by our finalists for the Young Author Awards are featured on the StarHub community page where friends, family, and fellow readers can vote for their favourite story.
Oh, where's it? This one, right? Yeah, sorry. After weeks of intense voting, we are pleased to announce the top 3 Bukit Prize winners. Running up at 3rd place, winning $200 worth of Red Mart vouchers, Lim Ke Chong from Anglo-Chinese School. Thank you very much, Ke Chong. In 2nd place, winning $300 worth of Red Mart vouchers, Jerusha Watson from Meridian Primary School. Thank you, Jerusha. And finally, the Bukit Community Favourite Top winner, taking home $500 worth of Red Mart vouchers. Please give it up for Clarence Lantaka from Meridian Primary School. Thank you very much, Clarence.
Congratulations, Clarence. And to stay connected with us, you may join our very own Young Author Club interest group by logging on to StarHub community at community.starhub.com. We're just a click away.
Thank you, Mr. Wang, for presenting the prizes. Up next is a project that is very close to heart by Miss Catherine Khoo and the National Library Board. Before we call upon Miss Catherine Khoo to tell us more about the project, Heritage Journeys, No Place Like Serangoon Gardens is a series of island-wide excursions that explore local heritage and culture in Singapore. Living in Serangoon herself, Ms. Khoo employed unique mentoring techniques for writing and media production while incorporating a variety of enriching stimuli from Singapore's history. And now, please welcome Ms. Catherine Khoo on stage to tell us more about this wonderful series of Heritage Journeys.
Thank you, everybody. Right. Before I go on to talk about the project, for the 3 winners, I've been asked to say that Ms. Nanette Cruz, my program manager, will be communicating to you on how to do it because it's digital. Okay, so what you have there, I think is a code, but she will communicate with your parents, I guess, and yourself on how to get your vouchers. Right, there are vouchers which you can download, I think, and purchase certain things, I think. Red Mart vouchers, all right? Okay, All right. Well, today, especially now, I'm very, very happy because we collaborated, Janus Education collaborated with National Library Board on a book called Heritage Journeys, No Place Like Serangoon Gardens. We pitched this project to them sometime last year, and we managed to finish it, I think, within a year. But there are lots of things that we had to do. We had to make a lot of calls, and we had to, invite people to come and be interviewed, and lots of stuff. Okay, but right now in my hands, I hold the book. But I just want to say that there are a few people that actually made this book happen, and I am really, really very proud of them. Can I call them on stage first, okay, and later they get their stuff. But right now, can I call certain people out on stage? Because I'd like to thank them personally, and I hope, you will, when you read this book, basically to actually think of them, right? Because they are the next generation of writers. But before that, I want to talk about the book itself. This book, it has a moratorium period, meaning I cannot sell the book. Okay, but I have, when we did the Serangoon Gardens book, decided, okay, to donate proceeds from it to the Singapore Cheshire Home, who, by the way, is in Serangoon Gardens. Today, I have two representatives from the Singapore Cheshire Home here with me, and the guide as well, right? They are here because I invited them here. What I hope to do is for you, for a token sum, to get the book, right? It can be any amount. We spend, I guess, if you are counting it, $25 per book to print the books, to get the books in order. But for a token sum, get a copy of the book, and everything, all proceeds will be donated to the Singapore Cheshire Home. Please get at the desk there, and they'll be there to actually take your donations, right? Okay. Before that, before I call my next speaker up, I'd like to invite all my participants up, right? All the young authors who have contributed to this project. Can I, as I call your name, please come up, right? Sophie Tan all the way there. Yes, don't run away. Come, Sophie. Okay. Sophie she helped with the book, right? She helped with Serangoon Gardens Country Club, I think, and another Secrets of Serangoon Gardens, right? Sophie is 14. Tat Wei, 15. Okay, she set 3 this year, right? Yeah. Sophie Tan, right? She was were you the winner? You were the winner last year, right? She wrote a very interesting story. So if you can check out Bookmate, that's it. It's there. Master Lee Tat Wei, right? Tat Wei has been very, very instrumental in making the book happen. He contributed to a few chapters and interviewed, I think, quite a few people. Yeah, right? Tat Wei is 17 this year. Yes, right? And then who else have I got? Oh, yes, Eleora Joseph. She helped with the book as well. Right? That was last year, so when she was 12. Eleora, okay, she was in Marymount Convent, now in National JC. Right? I have Athena as well. Athena helped out in one of the stories. Yeah, right? Right? Who else have I got? Ron. Is Ron here? Where? Ron, are you here? No. Okay. And then I have this young girl here who celebrates her birthday today. Zhiling, come on. Okay, like all of you, they were all young authors, all right? Okay. Zhiling turns what? 14 today. Yes, okay, right? Zhiling was my MC last year, right? With Mr. Larry Lai, yes. Okay, so this, and one more, Ron, he wasn't around. He's late. He's lost and late, okay? All right, okay, he's lost and late. Okay, never mind. So please give a round of applause to these few people, right? And then they'll get the book later, right? After, I think, Tat Wei speaks, right? Okay, so thank you very much, guys. You'll be called up later. Right now, I'd like to hand over the mic, right? Do you speak that or do I speak? Okay, all right, I'm going to give Brian to speak.
Hi, sorry about that. You guys are going to have to come back on. Firstly, I would like to invite Ms. Khoo on stage once again to present No Place Like Serangoon and certificates of appreciation to our contributors. Recipients, please kindly remain on stage for a group photo. First up, my fellow co-host, Eleora Joseph. and my other fellow co-host, Athena Tan. We've also got Sophie Tan.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sophie Tan. Next up, we've got Lee Tat Wei. And Wong Zi Ling. We would also like to call up on stage our feature contributors, Mr. Kang Yu Ming. Mr. Peter Pong. Miss Mabel Wee. And lastly, Mr. Tom Nyap Tong. Thank you very much. Now, our next young speaker wrote his first book of 27,000 words when he was just 11 and this tall. Today, he is this tall, and he is a regular feature for Young Reader Club magazine, and much, much more. In fact, I've already mentioned him. He's one of the contributors for No Place Like Serangoon Gardens. So let us warmly welcome my fellow young author, Lee Tat Wei.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tat Wei, as introduced. I'm 17 this year. I'm now in year 5 in ACS Independent. So just to introduce myself a bit, I participated in the Young Author Awards when I was P5. So that's like 6 years ago. And yes, I'm very privileged to be here today to share about my experiences on writing this book. But I think first I want to talk to the finalists today, because today is about you. So I just want to encourage you guys, regardless of whether you win today or take home a prize today or not, your writing journey only starts here. It doesn't end here, and it can only improve from here onwards. So yes, by being here, you have shown some form of passion for writing, and your literary merit has been affirmed by the fact that you're sitting here as a finalist. So don't give up and continue writing. So basically, to go on to what I'm here to share today, on heritage journeys, no place like Serangoon Gardens. Honestly, when I first started out this project, it was with a neutral attitude. I wasn't really excited for it. Why? Because I thought that this book would be something about big picture, something about Singapore, because it's Singapore's 50th year. So I thought it would be something about like Singapore's heritage. But during the first meeting, I remember it was at a clubhouse in Serangoon Gardens, and I entered the room, and flashed on the whiteboard was Serangoon Gardens and then the various aspects we wanted to cover. So I was a bit apprehensive in the sense that I was wondering why we wanted to cover Serangoon Gardens specifically. Like, why not cover Singapore? And don't get me wrong, I love my country. I was taught and programmed to appreciate our nation via our national education. But because of that, because of national education, my appreciation for my country was limited to this hardly malicious, but perhaps ignorant words of thanks that was in itself quite hollow in emotion. Because I appreciated my country, I was patriotic, but I didn't know why. And honestly, this book project taught me all about that. So what it was like at first, as I shared, I wondered why it was about Serangoon Gardens specifically. But I remember the first time we went down to the neighborhood itself, I think Mabel was there to bring us on the tour and give us a history of the place. And I still remember that it was really hot, I was really sweaty, and the day was sweltering hot, so I actually didn't like it at first. But as we walked along the neighborhood, we got to talk to people, we learned about history, I started to get more excited, because I realized that there was so much depth in the neighborhood. There was so much things that I could learn about in the neighborhood that I didn't think I could. So in this book, I covered basically 3 aspects. I talked to 5 people. I talked to Mr. Edmund Chai, who owns My Village, which was back then Paramount Theatre. I talked to Mr. Aru Subramaniam, who is a resident at Serangoon Gardens. He was once a national hockey player for Singapore. I talked to Mr. Jason Koh, who runs Garden Street Kway Chap at the Serangoon Gardens Garden Food and Market Place. I talked to Mr. Tam Yap Tiong, who is here today, from Rolina Curry Puffs. I talked to Mr. Lee Chin Soo and Mr. Stephen Tan from Pao Sing Chicken. So I learned a lot from them. From Mr. Edmund Chai, I learned about his childhood in Serangoon Gardens. And honestly, when I first had an interview with him, it started out as a normal, monotonous interview, honestly, like, what was the childhood like and stuff, but it progressed to something more meaningful and emotional and more deep. Because as he described his childhood, he described sneaking into theatres and watching movies with his brother. He talked about going home after school. And I really felt the emotion in it, because for me, Serangoon Gardens was a book project. But for people like him, for people who lived there, Serangoon Gardens was their life, it was their culture, it was their history. And so I learned a lot about that from him, from Paramount Theatre, because back then it was a theatre, but as Singapore modernized, as Serangoon Gardens modernized, the building itself became obsolete, and now it's My Village. And honestly, I had to go to Serangoon Gardens a few times because of the book project. And I went to My Village and sat there and drank coffee, did my work. And I realized that the atmosphere in My Village and places like Ion Orchard is completely different. Like, people go to Orchard to like party, to talk loud and stuff. But when you go to My Village, you really see families there bonding. You see people talking to each other, meaningful conversations, not just shouting for no reason. Then it's quite interesting as you sit there, you observe your surroundings. You realize that Serangoon Gardens is so much more than just food places. There's actually a heart to it. There's actually a living, breathing soul underneath the community and the culture in it. So the next person I talked to was Mr. Aru Subramaniam. He was a national hockey player for Singapore back in the 1970s and 60s, I think. So what I learned from him was he was super jovial. He was extremely animated in how he described his sporting career. He talked about that final penalty score that he had in the finals against Malaysia. He talked about his training overseas. He talked about his journey as an umpire for hockey. And I really learned so much from him, not only as a sportsman, because I'm a sportsman myself, but I also learned a lot in the sense that I realized that Serangoon Gardens is not just about the places, it's not just about the culture, it's a lot about the people. And as we wrote the book, and as you read the book, if you will, you realize that we cover a lot about the people in the community, because that's what the community is about. It's about the individual successes and experiences that add on to the collective spirit. And I believe that's what's most beautiful about this book. It's capturing what the community is about and not just about the history about the place. Because history can be found in any history book. You can go to Google it, but you can't Google someone's life. You can't Google someone's experiences. You can't Google someone's dreams, ambitions. And that's what we captured in this book, I believe. And so I also talked to a few of the stall owners. I talked to Mr. Jason Koh from Garden Street Kway Chap, and he had a very interesting story. He became a hawker because he wanted to preserve the recipe from his grandfather. Because if I'm not wrong, his grandfather first made kway chap back in the 1940s, and his parents continued the tradition, and he continues it today. But what he told me is that he's actually a qualified pilot with the relevant ratings. He came back from Australia one day from his pilot training, and then decided to continue to be a hawker at Serangoon Gardens making kway chap. And he told me about, and this may not be politically correct, but the thing is that, and it's quite true honestly, a lot of us may look at hawkers and we make judgments about them. We make unjustified judgments about them without knowing their story and stuff. But honestly, after hearing Mr. Jason Koh talk, I really learned the heart behind the food. Because we go to hawker centers to eat, we go there to fill our stomachs. We don't think about the life stories of the person handing us the food. We don't think about what they did why they did what they did. And so Mr. Jason Koh talked a lot about his passion to preserve the recipe from his family. And I learned a lot from him. I talked to Mr. Tam Nyap Tong. He has 5 decades of experience in making curry puffs. And I loved how he talked about his customers. He called the customers his friends because he really looked at them like they grew up together. I remember he told me that he remembers a mother and son who always came to buy curry puffs from him at the beginning. And as he grew up, the son grew up, got married, and brought his own family to buy from him. So he effectively saw 3 generations of a family just from selling curry puffs. And I believe it's these bonds you make with your customers that really make being a hawker so invaluable. And again, that's why I learned so much about the neighborhood. It's not just a food haunt for tourists. There's really there's a heritage to it, and there's a culture to it. I talked to Mr. Lee Chin Soo and Mr. Stephen Tan from Pao Sing Chicken, and they've been partners in the restaurant for over 30 years. You could tell they had a lot of passion for their food. They said that they wanted to start the Hainanese chicken rice because they felt a lot of pride in their culture because they're Hainanese people. And they also wanted to spread the culture to the people here in Singapore. And so they started a store on it, but they also realized they need to modernize. So they included a lot of Peranakan dishes into their restaurants. And you can see that they really, really love being an F&B business. When we asked them what made them happy in these 30 years, they told us it's the process. They said that they didn't really mind much about the end product. It's about the 31 years they were together, working hard together, suffering together to create this business that was so successful right now. And it's the fact that they were doing something they loved that was so important to them. Honestly, these stories themselves are quite touching already. But the fact that is, we weave together these individual stories into this book, and we add on to the canon of Singapore literature. And that's so important. Like I said at the beginning, I had a bit of grievances because of the fact that I thought the book scope was too narrow. Serangoon Gardens, why Serangoon Gardens? Why not Ang Mo Kio? Why not Tampines? Why not Yishun? Why Serangoon Gardens? I realized it's not really the specific place it is. It's about the people in it. I mean, we always say to love Singapore, love your country, love your history, be proud of your nation, but it's such an abstract idea. How do you be proud of your nation? Why do you love your country? And it's when we go into these specific things, when we look at the neighborhood, we look at the people, we look at the history of the neighborhood, that we really see how Singapore has grown, what Singapore has done for us, what we have done to Singapore. And that's when we really, really love when we know that we really love the nation. Because Singapore's story is not just about our journey from Merdeka to Marina Bay Sands. Our story is hidden in the little pit stops between these milestones. It's not just about the political milestones in our history. It's about playing catching in the void deck. It's about meeting your first love in a coffee place. It's about catching spiders and making them fight. Without all these little stories, Singapore's history will only highlight times of turmoil and strife. The most crucial part of appreciating our past is celebrating its happiness. And as we trudge on forward with the nation, and as skyscrapers grow taller and cast its modern shadows over the Aung Sali houses, Aung Sali's houses are rampant in Serangoon Gardens, we will forget our past. It's inevitable. We won't remember every single thing of our history. But I think that's why this book is so important, because this book seeks to capture and immortalize something of our history. It may start at Serangoon Gardens, but perhaps it will go on to a systematic marathon around Singapore. It may go on to Marsiling, it may go on to Eunos, it may go on to Bukit Batok. And every individual region, every individual neighborhood will have its own story to tell, even though we're all Singaporeans. We are a nation with such a diverse population. So the fact that every neighborhood has its own story to tell adds on to our entire history and culture. Without these documented memories, what unites us Singaporeans is merely the vague silhouette of nationalism. It's the empty words that say that I love my country, but I don't know why. To truly love our nation and appreciate our past is to learn the little tales that make up the big story. The individual experiences between people that make them love their neighborhood, love their country. That's what is so important. And this all starts in this book. Heritage Journeys, No Place Like Serangoon Gardens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tat Wei. Now I'm really curious to find out more about Serangoon Gardens. If you are interested to learn more about the heritage stories of Serangoon Gardens, the book is now available for a donation sum. Each book costs $25. Each book costs $25 to produce, but you are welcome to donate any amount to the people from Shajara Home. All proceeds will be going to them, and if you have any token amount, please do donate to them.
That's right, Athena. Singapore Cheshire Home was founded in 1957 with the aim of providing a home for the disabled who have limited or are unable to provide adequate care for themselves. Today, Singapore Cheshire Home has 67 residents receiving nursing care, physiotherapy, and occupational therapy, handicraft, computer practices, as well as social and recreational activities. We're also pleased to have two special guests from Singapore Cheshire Home with us today.
Don't forget that all proceeds will be going to Singapore Cheshire Home, so please donate generously. All right. As this year's Young Author Awards draws to a close, it is now time to formally launch the next batch of Young Author Awards 2015-2016. We would like to invite our special guests, Mr. Ramachandran, Mrs. Trina Ong, Miss Lim Lee Kok, and Mr. Mark Ting on stage to launch the Young Author Awards 2015-2016.
Okay, now at the count of 1, 2, and 3.
Ooh, that's...
YAA 2015 and 2016 has just been launched. If you are between 8 and 18 and are an aspiring writer, don't forget to submit your stories to us.
Brian, can you still remember the judging criteria when you were a young author finalist?
When I was a young author, you mean 10 years ago when Goh Chok Tong was still Prime Minister? I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Come
I don't
on, Brian,
remember
you're not
any of it.
that old, are you?
He's that
I
old.
am that old. Oh, but of course I can remember. I was just kidding with you guys. To qualify, the stories must be in English language and be at least 2,000 words long. The genres are as follows: Ghosts and Ghouls, Animal Tales, Magic and Fantasy, Mystery and Adventure, Asian Tales, Science Fiction, and Heartwarmers.
That's absolutely right. Please be reminded that the deadline of all entries is on 31st December 2015. Students who have attended the Young Author Scheme will automatically have their entries submitted into the Young Author Awards this year.
And don't forget the qualifying criteria. Well, it is now time to introduce our young promising panel of judges. 15 judges have been selected to critique the works of our young authors. All of them were once young authors themselves, and I am sure that they have countless memorable stories about their journeys as a young author. We would like to invite on stage our 15 talented and promising young Young Author Awards judges to be presented certificates of appreciation.
Now, we would like to invite Ms. Lim Leacock, Managing Director of Asia Pac Books, on stage to present the certificates to our wonderful panel of judges. Ms. Lim, please.
First up, we have Judge Brian Joel Lim.
Thank you.
Secondly, Nurul Iman. Yogesh Tauzi. Yan Chu. Jezreel Castro.
Amen.
Sharon Scaria. Unfortunately, Sharon Scaria is unable to be present today to receive the certificate, but we thank her greatly for her contributions to the YAA. Next up is Teresa Ellsworth. Dylan Wong. Please welcome Sharon Scaria on stage. Okay, now number 8 on the list of promising young judges is Dylan Wong. Oh, Dylan Wong is also unable to be present today, but we thank him very much. Next up is Sabrina Zulfliki, who is also unable to be present today, but thank you very much for contributing to the YAA award. Yap Lee In, please come on stage. May we please invite Hor Wern Thing up. Now, unfortunately, Jocelyn Ng, Angelica Chong, and Chu Kehan are unable to make it today, but we thank them very much once again for contributing to the Young Author Awards. Now, may we please invite Srishti Acharya.
Thank you, Ms. Lim, for presenting the certificates. Now, Brian, you're from the pioneer batch of the Young Author Scheme. Can you tell us more about what you're doing now?
Well, other than being old, I'm in national service right now. I can't wait for it to end. You guys will know what it's like. I mean, the guys or the girls, I mean, it's your choice. It's your choice. Beyond that, I spend a lot of my free time reading and writing. In fact, I've got a novel in the pipeline and I'm quite excited about it. After Rennes, I'll be looking to further my studies in NUS and just maybe liberal arts, if that's possible as well. Yeah. With regards to liberal arts, our next young speaker is a former young author and a judge at this year's YAA Awards. He has graduated from Meridian Junior College as a top art student and is now serving his national service, like myself. I personally have been awestruck by his courage and tenacity because, well, let's have the man speak for himself. Let's put our hands together for Yogesh Tulsi.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for saying that you're awestruck by my courage and tenacity. I've never gotten that before, so that's quite pleasant. Yeah, so Ms. Catherine Khoo invited me to speak here because I was in the Young Author Scheme in 2006, I think. Yeah, so I'm just going to speak a bit about my experiences and what I'm doing right now. So like Brian, I'm also serving my NS and I'm going on to Yale NUS in 2016 to study liberal arts. So I'm quite excited about that. Yeah. So when I was 11, there was a very popular magazine geared towards children. I don't think many of you would have heard of it because Google tells me it closed in 2008. It was called Kids Company. It was this edutainment magazine. I'm not sure if anyone in the crowd remembers it. It had a lot of these activities and brain teasers and feature stories. For 10-year-olds who were interested in consuming stories and who read a lot, this magazine was a huge hit with them. So early on in 2006, there was this feature on the Young Author Scheme which absolutely fascinated me. As a kid, I was obsessed with storytelling. I grew up surrounded by all kinds of books and stories. I used to watch a lot of television as well, which people generally don't recommend, but I honestly think television is a great way to pick up language. And when I was a kid, I would watch Channel 8 dramas, Indian dramas, English dramas, cartoons, all sorts of things. And this left me with a lot of interest in multicultural storytelling, as well as a rudimentary understanding of Mandarin and Hindi, even though I took Malay. So I used to write my own superhero books when I was adventure stories when I was a kid, and I would demand my friends give me feedback no matter how atrocious my writing was. Yeah. So when I saw the Young Author Scheme, I knew I had to apply. And coming from a low-income family, I didn't have the resources to afford the scheme back then. So my mom took the effort to contact Ms. Catherine Khoo and explain that I really wanted to join this program. So very graciously, Ms. Khoo subsidized my the program for me and allowed me to participate. I've always been very grateful for this. I was allowed to seriously engage in ideas of storytelling beyond what was offered in school and interact with children my age who had similar interests. The Young Author Scheme showed me that if you look hard enough, you'll always find support for your desires and your dreams. It taught me not to let opportunities go by and to constantly challenge yourself, to develop your interests, develop your talents. My mother played a huge role in showing me this. Even though she did not always understand my interests, she understood my passion, understood my drive. A lot of times you hear stories of people saying that in Singapore, parents try to push their own desires onto children rather than letting them explore and own their interests. My mother never did that. She respected my desires and my interests and not only allowed me to pursue them, she actively helped me get there. As a single mother, it was not always very easy on her, but she never let it show to me. She made sure I always felt loved and respected for my ideas and my thoughts. I owe my sense of drive, my sense of passion to her. It can be an incredibly empowering experience for kids to have parents who believe wholeheartedly in your abilities and your desires. Today, I'm a very proud co-founder of a similar initiative to the Young Author Scheme called Kids Accomplish. As a child, what struck me about the Young Author Scheme was the way the facilitators took our ideas and our thoughts seriously. Many adults undervalue the power of a child's mind. They see that a child's idealism and lack of experience in the world as a weakness. Personally, I don't see that as a weakness. I see that as a strength. As a child, your fresh perspective on the world is the strongest weapon you have. Being able to take things from a new angle, without being worn down by the cynicism of age is incredibly powerful. Kids Accomplish is based on a very similar model. We believe that children should be challenged and respected as smart, critical individuals in their own right. Conducted at Yale and US College every Saturday, we seek to challenge children and prompt them to respond to ideas and concepts they might not be otherwise exposed to. If you would like to know more about Kids Accomplish, do look us up on the internet. We have a website with a Facebook page, so drop us a message. It's an exciting new program that aims to be at the forefront of new educational models in Singapore. And what we do is that we introduce kids to really new and big concepts. So for example, because Yale and US has volunteers from over 35 nations, we introduce them to a new country every other week. And so that's the kind of thing we try to show them and give exposure to. So in closure, I would like to leave you with these words. And above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. Roald Dahl. Never believe that creativity and storytelling are unimportant or irrelevant to the real world. They are the most important tools we have as a species. The ability to dream, imagine, and envision new horizons is a fundamental aspect of being human. I hope you have a great evening, and I hope you continue to follow your passions. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts, Ms. Khoo, and thank you for listening to me today.
Now, Brian, have you heard about Catherine Khoo's amazing journeys?
Yes, Ileora. What strikes me about her amazing journeys is its sincerity and passion. It really goes to show that writing from the heart is really the most important thing a writer can do. Before the writer can pen down anything, it is important to first have empathy and compassion.
That's right, Brian, and that happens to be exactly what the Amazing Journey series plans to achieve, to build compassion in every budding writer. Partnering with STA Travels, previous amazing and fruitful journeys have brought our journeyers to Cambodia and back, where they experience the simplicities of life.
The Amazing Journey series is family-centric, and most of our journeyers participate in the program with their family members. Ms. Vela Koh took part in the previous Amazing Journey to Cambodia with her husband and 2 children, and she is here today to share her experiences from the journey. Ms. Koh, please.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and students. My name is Vela. I'm a mother of 2. I have 2 girls, 15 and 17. 3 years ago, I got to know Catherine. I was organizing this trip to Cambodia. It's a very unique family bonding trip, and it really got my attention because I have always wanted to have a vacation with my family, a more meaningful one. And I also wondered a lot of time, my girls go to the overseas CIP, what do they do there? So it started our family adventure in this simple, rustic living countries, Cambodia. It was an eye-opening experience for all of us. We did the normal thing, sightseeing, learning about the history and the culture and a different aspect of the life of the Cambodians. What we do very differently is that we really got the chance to really know each other better, 24/7, being very present to each other because we can use our iPhone there and no IT gadgets. That was really challenging. And we also homestayed in a wooden stilt house, sleeping on mattresses laid on the floor. And the toilet was extremely basic and ulu. We only had about 4 to 5 hours of electricity, power generated a day. And we were asked to write journal every day. That was really unique about what we saw, encounter, and feel. Even the parents have homework. And I remember we woke up in the morning to the crowing of the rooster. The air was extremely cool, refreshing, and was really different from Singapore. And we took the bullock cart to the foot of the hill and trekked through the mountain up to a waterfall. It was a real fun experience for us. And our children even taught in the local primary school, make friends with them, and they have the opportunity to play a bigger role in teaching the basic English and learn how to relate and to connect with the local kids. I remember what caught my heart was the trip to the poorest village to distribute rice to them. There are about 5 families there. Each of a family, we bought about 50 kilograms of rice. And so there was like 250 kilograms of rice to be distributed to the villagers. What touches me was seeing all our children were so natural, assumed to their self-appointed role to help. They were weighing, packing, scooping, distributing the rice, and all from their heart and not the instruction from the parents. It was a big melting pot for both parents and children at that time. That's what I felt. And what was amazing is that last year, my elder girl, Mabel, went to Vietnam to do her CIP work with a school. And I read from her Instagram, I could see that she truly enjoyed her community work there. She was very authentic and she participated fully. And I can feel that she gave from her heart. I felt that was the seed that we had planted in her. It had gone in her subconscious mind. I believe the best gift we can give our children is to help them shape their character, giving them a bigger play classroom, helping them to lead a more meaningful and fulfilling life. We are living in a very fast-paced world, society based on performance and result. My wish is to see stronger and happier bonds between parents and children through this kind of work. Thank you.
Amazing journey will take place in December, and if you are interested to sign up and have your very own amazing family travel log, please approach Melissa at the registration table.
Now, everyone here today, we are very lucky to be here in the presence of experienced traveler and enthusiast, Mr. Mark Tang. He is here today to share with us on several learning points for the upcoming trip. Mr. Tang, please.
Hello everybody, I am very happy to be invited by Catherine and Janice Education to present the amazing journey. I am Mark from STA Travel, and STA Travel specializes in education and volunteer tours. Yeah, so we are a local, no, we are not a local company, we are a global company that has 200 offices around the world, and our HQ is based in London. Next. Okay, so we have been conducting learning journeys for different organizations and schools. What sets learning journeys apart from overseas, holidays and overseas trips? Overseas learning journeys are basically overseas learning trips whereby you learn and experience through the different unique characteristics of the different countries. If you want to study about geography, you can go to Great Ocean Route. If you want to study about empathy, you can, visit, all those orphanages in Batam or Phnom Penh. So, we are in the business of providing learning journeys. So these are our social responsibility partners, and of course, Janus Education is one of our greater benefactors. And some of our CSR or volunteer campaigns that takes place overseas are so we do construct a tourism academy in Thailand after the tsunami that was in 2004. We believe that through education it's only through education that the youths in Thailand would be able to pick up and recover. We also help install water tanks in countries like Panama. These are some of the efforts by our global branches, not by us, STA Singapore. So what do we do? So these are some of the examples, some of the case studies that we have done with the different organizations. As you can see, I mean, we have orphanage activities in Ho Chi Minh City. We have agricultural programs in Kunming, and we help rebuild schools, different schools in Phnom Penh. And this is exactly why we are here today. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the Phnom Penh Amazing Journey, sponsored or organized by Janus Education. So this amazing journey is not only about a trip to empathize or to do good work. It is also a trip, to enhance your literary skills. Why is that so? Because trainers from Janus Education will be there to help facilitate with the experience. And for this amazing journey in Cambodia, we are moving with this triple R model. What do I mean by triple R? Okay, this triple R model is an effective tool, all right, when you are going overseas to do all these volunteer campaigns. So what does this triple R stands for? Ready, ready to do good work. So when we are going to Cambodia, we do a risk analysis, and this is something Ms. Khoo has done. She has been to different orphanages in Cambodia, and she has done the risk analysis and cost-benefit analysis. And for the participants, we will be giving a lessons on DISC. DISC is basically a personality, personality metrics, in order to help you facilitate and mingle around with the other people over there. So, ready, render. When we are over there, we will be rendering our services and reflect. This reflection will be through journals and the production of a booklet by the staff of Janus Education. Okay, so what are some of the highlights and features of the trip? What will we be learning over there? We will be learning about things like violence and the horrors of war, and how violence tore a country apart. In the 70s and the 80s, in Phnom Penh, about a generation of people is gone. Just a simple fact for you guys. Do you know that you can hardly see male who are aged around 30 to 40 years old in Phnom Penh at this period of time? Why is that so? Because most of them were killed off in the 1970s. Around 2 million people out of 8 million people were being killed. And through the visits to S21 Tosen and Chong Ek killing fields, we will be learning about political mismanagement. So this is the mass grave of the killing field. And of course, the highlight of the trips would be the visit to Tuan O School. At the visit to the Tuan O School, participants will not only mingle, interact, and play games with the students. Doing volunteerism and doing service learning is much, much more than that. Participants will be talking to them and getting their accounts of what has happened to them. Why do you see what you see over there? And participants will be writing this down in a journal. They call that slums, we call that home. Or rather, we call these slums, they call that home. We'll be visiting some of the villages over there. You may complain about the shrinking size of your HDB flat year by year. Some of their houses are much bigger than ours, but the living conditions leave it lesser to be desired. Of course, we will be going to some iconic sites such as the Russian market. Russian market doesn't mean there are a lot of Russians over there. In fact, there used to be a lot of Russians over there, but no more. In the Russian market, you will be looking at a lot of authentic Cambodian goods, Cambodian products, and not so authentic Western products. This is a picture of Russian market. And of course, you will be surprised. You'll be surprised that, in a place where, we do charity, you will find a place like Aeon Mall, Aeon Mega Mall. I mean, this is just, besides the Cambodian market and, all those shanty little shopping centers over there. We learn about war, we learn about empathy, we also learn about development, okay, and the cost with it. Development is good, but the thing is, some of the things that comes with it, inequality, okay. So how do we do a reconciliation? Okay, how do we reconcile all these things? And of course, you'll be visiting some other iconic sites such as the Central Market and the River Palace. All right, thank you. I would like to end off with the concept of service learning and, volunteerism. Service learning and volunteerism is not, it's not only being about a superhero or being a hero where you give to others. Because in fact, the giver will receive much more than the recipient. And this will be particularly true for this trip. Because for this trip, participants will learn about concepts such as steward leadership, reflection, empathy, and enhance your literary skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tang. Now, shout out to all my teachers who gave me homework for the holidays, preventing me from going on an eye-opening, amazing journey on my own. Moving on from that issue, we have specially put together a video of our finalists. Find out how our young writers discovered their passion for writing and their personal pursuits towards their dreams. Sit back and enjoy the short clip coming right at you.
Tired of waving goodbye, you kept out of sight, lost in confusion. Still, I don't know why you covered your eyes. Is it just an illusion? Well, I know it's just a matter of time, just a matter of time before you give it a try. Just a matter of finding the way to your heart and the way to your mind. I just want to show you I've got so much love inside of me. I love these dreams that I keep buried deep inside the heart of me. I spent my days half asleep, lost in a dream, but I'm ready to wake up. Your smile came out of nowhere. This could be a sign something's ready to shake up. Well, I know it's just a matter of time, just a matter of time before you open your eyes. Just a matter of finding the way to your just a matter of time before you open your eyes. Just a matter of finding the way to your heart. It's just a matter of time. I just want to show you I've got so much love inside of me. I love these dreams that I keep buried deep inside the heart of me. I just want to show you I've got so much love inside of me. I love these dreams that I keep buried deep inside the heart of me. I love these dreams that I keep buried deep inside the heart of me. Oh, it gets so hard to see you pass me by. All I want is to be alone with you tonight. It's just a matter of time, just a matter of time before you open your eyes. Just a matter of finding the way to your heart. It's just a matter of time. I just want to show you I've got so much love inside of me. I love these dreams that I keep buried deep inside the heart of me. I just want to show you I've got so much love inside of me. I love these dreams that I keep buried deep inside the heart of me. I love these dreams that I keep buried deep inside the heart of me. Oh, it gets so hard to see you pass me by. All I want is to be alone with you tonight. It's just a matter of time, just a matter of time before you open your eyes. Just a matter of finding the way to your heart. It's just a matter of time. I just want to show you I've got so much love inside of me. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
And out of the artistic passion of the young authors we have just seen on the screen, 48 beautifully written short stories have been shortlisted for the Young Author Awards. We would like to invite Mr. Ramachandran to present publishing contracts and certificates to our bright young authors. We would also like to request for our young authors and also their parents from each school to remain on stage to take a group photo. First up, from Anglo-Chinese Primary School, we've got Lim Ke Chong. Remain on stage, please. Next, we've got Lee Cheong Weng Justin. Alright, never mind. We got Caden Yap. Before we move on, we would also like to kindly request for parents to come up as well to take a group photo together. Next up, we've got Royce Lim. Unfortunately, he's not around, so we'll be sending the certificate over to him. Next, we have Surya Naya. Not here as well? No worries, we'll send the certificate to him as well. And we have, finally, Shiv Dewan. Oh, he took his cert already, so it's fine. We would also like to invite Miss Josephine from Anglo-Chinese School to come on stage to receive a plaque for the school. Miss Josephine, please. Unfortunately, she's not around, so we'll be sending the plaque over to the school. Oh, we'll give it to one of the kids. Thank you, students from Anglo-Chinese School. Next up, from Meridian Primary School, let's call out Iman Christina Putri. Unfortunately, she's not around, so we'll be sending the certificate over to her. Next, we have Jerusha Watson. Next, we've got Zhu Rei Lin. And finally, we've got Clarence Lantaka. Let's not forget to invite form teacher Madam Noraida from Meridian Primary School to come on stage to receive a plaque for the school. Madam Noraida, please. Thank you, Madam Norida and students from Meridian Primary School. And now, from West Grove Primary School, Abigail Roosley. And Chen Hui Lee. We will be presenting the plaque to the students from West Grove Primary. Thank you, students from West Grove Primary. Now, from Chuying Primary School, we would like to invite Miatet Chai Tin U on stage to receive a certificate for her story, The Challenges. Do you want to take one? Alright, just before we move on, a kind request for parents to come on to take the pictures as well of their children, because you know, you're proud of them. So let's all take a group photo together. Now, hailing from Xingnan Primary School, we would like to invite Feng Zhuo Wen. Unfortunately, he is not here with us today, so we'll be presenting a certificate to him on another time. And now we've got V. Sweta. Thank you, students from Xingnan Primary. Now, from Jurong West Primary School, we would like to call upon Devon Cheng Zhiteng. Next, Adrian Loa. And To Kin Moon. We will now be presenting the plaque.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ramachandran, students and teachers. We would now like to call upon Mr. Vincent Wang to present publishing contracts and certificates to our young authors. Students, please remain on stage after you collect your certificate for a group photo. First up, from Methodist Girls Primary School, Louise Chua Yi Ning. Sorry, we would now like to call upon Mr. Vincent Wang to present the certificates to our young authors. As Mr. Vincent Wang has left the house, we would like to call upon Ms. Trina Ong to come up and present the certificates. Next up, Isabel Lin Yi Wee. Okay. Unfortunately, she's not able to attend. Rachel Han, who is also unable to attend today's ceremony. Rachel Han. We would now like to invite Wu Ke Yi and Chong Sin Yue from Pioneer Primary School on stage to receive their certificates. Now, from Fengshan Primary School, we would like to call upon Greg Lin, who is unable to attend today's ceremony as well. Moving on to Sri Ashwini R. Tan Zhi-Ying. Alfred Goh. Up next is Javier Lim Kai Xiang. And last but not least, we have Socrates Sim from Fengshan Primary. We would now like to invite the HOD for English, Miss Camila Hashim from Fengshan Primary, to come on stage to receive a plug for the school. Miss Hashim, please. Up next, we would like to invite Sheila Lee Wei. Rachel Lee. Who is unable to make it today, and Aiman binti Zahid. And our final two from Junyuan Primary School, Amelia Chung. And finally, Arthur Lee. Group photo. Now, moving on to Nanyang Girls High School, Kylia Cole. And lastly, we have To Xue Chi from Raffles Girls' School. Please come on stage to receive your certificate.
Thank you, Mrs. Ong. And last but not least, we would like to invite Yogesh Tulsi to present the publishing contracts and certificates to our young authors. Yogesh, please. Now a reminder for all students and parents to come on stage when taking the pictures. Firstly, we would like to call upon Ethan Kwa from Singapore American School to come on stage to receive his certificate. Next, from Bowen Secondary School, Michael Ho. Next, from Catholic High Primary School, Javis Teo. Next, we have Russell Ng. Next, we have Caleb Lowe. Unfortunately, he's unable to be with us today. Next, we have Raphael So. Next, we have Raphael So. Now, may we invite all the students from Catholic High Primary to remain on stage for a school photo taking. Thank you, students of Catholic High. Now, from Rulang Primary School, Sean Low. Well, just a reminder for the students of Rulang Primary, please remain on stage until we take the group photo taking after everyone has received their certificates. And parents, you're also welcome to come on stage for the photo taking. Next, also from Rulang Primary, Elma Chai. From Rulang Primary, Elma Chai. Unfortunately, she's not able to be with us today. Next, we have Dong Zheng Yuan, who's also unable to be with us today. Lastly, from Rulang Primary, we have Oh Sheng Jun. Now may we invite the students of Rulang Primary to have a school photo taking. Now lastly, and all the way from the United States, Benjamin Campbell from Penfield Senior High School. Unfortunately, Benjamin is unable to attend the awards today, and we will be sending the certificate to him. Now, please remain on stage for the other special awards. Now, for the special awards, starting off with the Best Dedication. This award has been selected based on content, construction, and heartfelt inspiration. Now, the winner for Best Dedication, Wu Keyi from Pioneer Secondary School for his book, The Story of Angel and Devil Siblings. Keyi will receive a certificate and a one-year subscription of the Young Reader Club magazine.
Congratulations, Keyi. Moving on, we will now present the Best Cover Illustration Award. The best cover is judged based on concept, design, perspective, and overall relation to the story it was created for. And the winner is Kylia Ko for his story Love and Hate. Kylia will receive a certificate and a one-year subscription to the Young Reader Club magazine.
Test. Thank you very much, Yogesh. And now, this is the moment we have all been waiting for, the concluding moment of all our young authors who have spent months conceiving and penning down their stories. We would like to invite Miss Catherine Koo up on stage, the creator and founder of the Young Author Awards, to give out the prizes. Miss Koo, please. Now, we will firstly announce the third prize winner for the Young Author Awards. Our third prize winner for this year's YAA is Sri Ashwini R. from Fengshan Primary with her story, The Mystery of Lucy Carver. Congratulations! You will walk away with a plaque, $200 in prize money, and a one-year subscription of the Young Reader Club magazine.
Congratulations, Sri Ashwini. And now, our second prize winner is Jerusha Watson from Meridian Primary School with her story, A Tale of Friendship. Jerusha will receive $300 in prize money and a one-year subscription of the Young Reader Club magazine.
Congratulations, Jerusha. And now, we are about to announce our top prize winner. He or she, no clues here, will receive a plaque, $500 in prize money, and a 1-year subscription to the Young Reader Club magazine. Not to mention bragging rights, of course. So, who is it going to be? Well, after much deliberation on the judges panel, we've decided that the first place will go to, drumroll please, Louise Xia from Methodist Girls School with her story, Gabby's Wish. Congratulations, Louise.
Thank you very much, Miss Koo, and a big congratulations to our special prize awardees and top prize winners. Well done. With that, we have come to the end of the Young Author Awards 2014-2015. We look forward to seeing all of you again next year. Keep writing and pursuing your passion.
Do stick around for photo opportunities at the registration desk. Awardees, your publishing contracts are in the file with the certificates. Please sign the contracts and post it back to Janus Education. Once again, I'm Eliora Joseph.
And I'm Brian Lim.
And I'm Athena Tan.
Thank you all for your time and we wish you a pleasant evening.
Thank you, everybody. Right, I know we have overtime, but we have the people from the Singapore Cheshire Home here, and the books are there, and if you would like to give a small donation, it all goes to the Singapore Cheshire Home. Please donate, well, I was going to say dangerously. Sorry, generously. Okay, they're there. And because we are lack of time, I am supposed to give tokens to my special guest. I'm going to come to you personally to give you the tokens. I'm sorry about it, but I think I'm being chased out already because the AFCC ends already, and I'm only given until 7:30. So thank you, everybody. All of you are winners, kids, right? There's a publishing contract at the back of your certificate, all right? Sign one copy and return to Natalia. Natalia, put up your hand. Natalia there, if you want to get your book published, okay? All right, keep the other one and sign one and give it to, sorry, the parents sign, sorry. You're under 21, so you can't sign. So your parents has to sign and give it to Natalia, right? And please donate generously. Thank you.